the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the right side of the flag.
Yeah. Welcome, village board meeting of June 28th. Roll call, please.
Burrows,
Here.
Possession,
Here.
Giannotti,
Here.
Terry,
Here.
Stacy,
Here.
Kraus.
Here.
You've got minutes of the prior meeting in your packet, and actually I have found one correction in the appointments for
You
committees.
know, they're flipping, say problems. I take it.
For
the trial.
planning, building, and zoning.
Yeah, that's the one he had
It's
mentioned
Todd,
to me
okay,
too, yeah.
All right, that was all I
Time
had.
I read.
Are there any other corrections or changes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, roll call.
Capros,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address the board?
Hi, state your name and
What's your
address.
name?
Okay,
Yeah.
Janet Pallmeyer, 1160 Ash Street. I didn't know what to do, so that's why I'm coming here. Back on June 5th, it was a Saturday, like around 5 o'clock, me and my family get home from boating, we're ordering food, whatever, and our truck and our boat are parked on the street. We see a car that is in the front of our house. There was a graduation party, so there were cars everywhere. Male and female get in this car, proceeded to go in the cul-de-sac. Now, where I'm at, Ash is 3 houses on one side of the street, 3 and 4 on the other. So we're like in a U-shaped where we're located. So in the north cul-de-sac, the driver gets out of the car, proceeds to put water on his tires, and then starts doing donuts and burnouts. So much that you could not even see the house across the street. 2 calls were made to 911. I still have a landline, so I ran to my garage and called 911, let them know what was going on. In the meantime, the car stopped, pulled back into the front of our house, and then proceeded back to the graduation party. So the dispatcher asked, make and model, older Mustang, do you have a license plate? Hold on a second, run out there. It was an Indiana plate, chaotic. That's all that it was, and I thought, thank God I don't have to memorize numbers. So she's like, I will have an officer there. Great, thank you very much. Hang up. 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by. 15 minutes, Officer Emerson decides to show up. In the meantime, the female got into the car, hid it in a garage over in the preserves because she knew we called the police. My concern is when the guy was doing these donuts, came within about 15 to 20 feet of the back end of our boat. I would like to know why it took 15 minutes for an officer to show up in a town of 4,000 when there's very little activity going on. I don't know if it's a dispatch issue. I don't know if it was I have no idea what happened in between that time. So when Officer Emerson showed up, he proceeded to tell us that he could not get the name of the plate. He's like, did you ask or did you see what kind of plate it was, like a type of vanity plate like the state of Illinois has? No, I didn't. Well, there's nothing we can do, nothing's coming up. So in the meantime, a couple days later, my neighbor across the street who works for the Secretary of State, he goes, why didn't you call me? He goes, I would have been out here in 2 minutes. Oh, they're neighbors, it's the weekend, you've got to do, it's neighbor time. He's like, Janet, he's not telling the truth. He goes, if you put a ZZ in front of a plate and type in the number or the name or whatever, it will come up. And you can get who that plate is registered to. So now I'm kind of upset and frustrated because my house could have been on fire. Kids are around the area all the time. Somebody could have gotten hit or there could have been damage to my boat. And I just want to know and let you guys know that 15 minutes when you call 911 is not acceptable. So Room for improvement, absolutely. Not getting the name, who the car is registered to, or that plate is registered to. I'm being told one thing, but then when I'm telling, somebody from the Secretary of State, yes, you can, little bit upsetting. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, my report, strategic plan, is the village administrator.
I'm back here in the corner. I need 2 to go. I have 5 in. I know who one of them is. I don't know who the other one is, but if you haven't turned in your survey yet, please do so.
Okay.
Okay? And I can't really start putting the stuff together until I've known.
All righty.
I'll get it in, Bob.
I know it was you. I knew who the other one was.
I'm literally on the last page.
Okay. What I'm planning on doing is taking the second meeting in July, doing some workshop planning. But then the mayor was saying, boy, we could sure use a break. Do you want to wait till August? And I said, well, we'll see.
I won't be here that July meeting.
You will not?
No.
Okay. Maybe the first meeting in August will start.
August it is.
And then if in July meeting, we'll keep it short and sweet.
So I got
Because I'm
time
going to
to
be
get,
on vacation the week before.
so I got to get time in my packet and then, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you got time. But the problem is with the second meeting in July, I'll be gone the week before, so it's gonna be a pretty thin packet, but it is what it is.
And then later on, there will be a request for closed session to discuss employee contracts, appointments, and pending litigation. Finance and Administration Committee, Trustee Forrest.
Village Treasurer's annual reports are closed for review. Along with the Treasurer's annual report is the vendor payment report. This is published yearly in the newspaper and will also be available on our website. Item 3, consider an ordinance adding compliance provisions for all contractors having work valued at over $100,000 in the village. There's been instances of fraud whereby contractors paid for labor in cash to avoid workers' compensation, payroll taxes, federal, state income taxes, Social Security benefits, workers' comp, and unemployment insurance. This ordinance will allow the village to investigate compliance of tax fraud and either fine, suspend, or revoke licenses for violations of this ordinance. Although this may not be a significant problem in Beecher, it gives the village the tools it would need to combat this type of fraud. Again, this is for contractual work. This is not intended for any handyman jobs, a guy doing a basement or somebody's new front door or something like that. This is projects valued at over $100,000. Mayor, you got a number?
1351.
I'll go ahead and make a motion approving ordinance 1351.
We have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion? If not, roll call.
Kraus,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes?
Possession,
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes. Finance Committee meets to discuss Penfield STP financing plan and other matters. Encloses a copy of the plan, which the Finance Committee approved for use. Any type of loan, obviously, would come before the board for approval later this winter. The committee also discussed the selection process of auditing firms, cash balances and accounts, future tax levies, and the need for a combined debt schedule. Basically, at the report, or at the meeting, one of the big things that came out of it was we discussed the auditing firms. We have been on a cycle of every 3 years selecting a new one. I know Trustee Kraus was here before and President Meyer. When we selected that last one, which is good, they're coming to an end, everybody always thought it's good to get new eyes on the books. New set of eyes on the books, new set of eyes on the books. We've done that 3 times. It's just that time, typically we sign 3-year contracts with them. And I'd be for the same process again. I think Trustee Stacy was also in favor of it. It doesn't hurt, keeps people on their toes, keeps them honest when they're submitting requests for new contracts. So, anybody got any questions on that? Also, we discussed cash balance minimums, future tax levies. Again, we stated that the village has not, up until 2 years ago, we went 7 years without asking for a single penny more. Right now,
total EAV continues to increase. As that does, it's easy to ask for levy increases and people's taxes still go down, although may not go down as much as if we levy the exact same dollar amount. One of the things that was discussed, I've always been against levying any more dollars than we have in the past, but the last 2 years, we did a small levy and it was increased and it was pledged for police. I think when we discussed it, it was just kind of, we take it year by year. Told the administrator to plan, that he could plan for the 5-year financial planning for a levy increase if it was pledged directly for police, for public safety, increasing that, maybe increase some times, response times, by putting more people on the street. But that's where we left it at that. It's just kind of I don't know, a roadmap for Bob, I guess. And then a combined debt schedule. That's something I think is important that every trustee here has. We had Trustee Stacy was there, was new. We kind of got into a few of the loans that we have, explained how whenever we have increased debt or taken on debt, that there's dedicated sources of revenue to pay for that, and not necessarily fluctuating sources of revenue, steady streams of revenue annually that can cover that. So one of the things that came up was, I think it'd be advantageous for us to all have a debt schedule of all of them, showing what our payments are, when they are, annually, semi-annually, payoff dates, so on and so forth. Kind of, I'm sure everybody has it with their own personal, why not have it available here for us also. That was really about it. Unless, Roger, do you have anything else to add from the meeting that I'm forgetting, from our committee meeting?
No, not really. We covered it pretty much.
All right. Next item, consider a motion approving the transfer of 2 accounts from Midland States Bank to First Community Bank and Trust. There's only 2 accounts there. The treasurer would like to move to First Community Bank and Trust, so they're all under one roof. One of the problems that they've had is whenever she has had to call Midland, she ends up in Effingham, and it's a half-hour process. Her time's valuable. Right here, she's got a direct contact. If any questions she has on any of our accounts, she can immediately get a hold of somebody at First Community right there at that location without having to be bounced around through Effingham and wherever else through the mid-central section of the state. So there are 2 accounts. They're small accounts. That's about it. I'm fine with it. Whatever's easiest for her. She's the one that's got to reconcile them every month. So I'll go ahead and make a motion approving the transfer of 2 accounts from Midland States Bank to First Community Bank and Trust.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call?
Caprows,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
All right, consider a motion combining the Ehlers and Ribbon of Hope accounts into one account called Memorials. Currently, there's 2 accounts, one for each of them. They're basically pass-throughs. They're just there now for perpetual maintenance, and basically, when somebody orders a brick, there's gotta be somewhere an account for that check to be deposited, and then you order the brick and you pay for that brick out of it. It's senseless to have 2 and to have 2 different accounts to reconcile, so we're looking to just combine those into one. It'll cover both the Ribbon of Hope Memorial and the Ehlers, the Veterans Memorial. So if anybody has any questions on that, I'll go ahead and make a motion combining the Ehlers and Ribbon of Hope accounts into one account called the Memorial account.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call?
Kraus,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Caprows,
Yes. Last item, consider a motion creating a new checking account called the American Rescue Plan Act account. This account is for escrow of the federal COVID money coming to the village in the next year. The use of this funding will be discussed in our strategic planning process later this summer. It's just a way to keep it separate from everything else. I know we discussed in the past adding into a different account or something and adding a line item. I'm more comfortable with it just being a separate account, it's accountable. Any of the mandates for requirements that need to be met through spending, it'll be much easier for the auditors and for our attorneys or anyone else to defend what we're spending it on, so. If there's no questions, I'll go ahead and make a motion, creating a new checking account called the American Rescue Plan Act account.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion?
One thing I'm gonna add to that, Mayor, that I forgot to bring up there. The treasurer said what her intention is to just take $5 out of petty cash to be able to set up that account. And take $5 from petty cash, open the account, and then whenever the first check comes in, it comes in. We're told sometime this month or
It's up
next
to the
month,
state of
but
Illinois now.
yeah, who knows when that'll be, so at least it'll be there and ready for when the check comes. That's all I needed to add, sorry about that.
Roll call?
Caprows?
Yes.
Possession?
Yes.
Giannotti?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
That concludes my report.
Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation Committee, trustee Thierry.
We've got the splash pad update with the superintendent.
Yeah, Josh, reading from M&J, was hoping to get the infrastructure portion put in before the 4th of July, but with the weather, that's not gonna happen. Now he's hoping for by the mid of July, so, I'm not sure, Bob, if we received
You
any.
said 4th of July, I was thinking Labor Day weekend. Okay.
Yeah, no,
You meant the
no.
real 4th of July?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Have we received any bids yet that you're aware of?
No.
No.
The bid process is open right now
Yeah, okay,
for the installation of the equipment.
When
right.
does that close?
Did I
Remember
say?
offhand?
No,
Okay.
2-3 weeks, it was a pretty tight schedule.
I know it's on our website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to report.
Okay, Planning, Building and Zoning Committee, trustee Stacy.
Yes, Madam President. Thursday, we had a meeting, for discuss the Ileana Crossroads Business Park of Beecher. The petitioner, Argan Barron of Dutch American Foods, has secured 100 acres, south of Church, west of Dixie, and east of the UP tracks. He's proposing construction for a business park consisting of 49 one-acre lots and 51 acres of open space detention areas. Warren Opperman of Joseph A. Schutz is it, I believe? Engineering presented the preliminary plan and request for a final PUD for the first phase, which will be in the northwest corner of the property. They've already have approximately 9 of these lots under contract for 3 industrial users. This property is in the Village TIFS District and Enterprise Zone. It is currently zoned R1 residential under preliminary PUD, which was proposed in 2007 but never constructed. This PUD would zone the property I1 limited industrial. The petitioner is willing to create an association which would maintain the 51 acres of open space. Concerns regarding buffering for neighbor residential, the Beecher Fellowship Church, turning movements and traffic controls are planned to be discussed at the workshop. Please see the enclosed site plan. And you have demolition order issued for 648 Penfield. The building inspector has a demo order to this address since the building appears to be in beyond repair. This is a foreclosure, and until the bank obtains a clear title, it cannot take any enforceable action. This order allows the process to be accelerated. The house is directly across from the elementary school. That's my report.
Thank you.
I have 2 things to add to that, the new information. The Planning and Zoning Commission has motion to hold a public hearing on the preliminary PUD of the business park for Wednesday, July 28th at 7 p.m. at the Washington Township Center. At the hearing, the petitioner will make a full presentation to the public. The village's planning consultant will evaluate the project based on our land use plan, and then the public will be allowed to ask questions and make comments at the hearing. Anyone interested in this project should plan to attend. We will post the hearing on our website. It's going to go on Facebook. We're We're going to write a letter to everyone within 200 feet of the property lines of the project. They will get a letter from the village in the mail, and it'll be in the local paper. So there's plenty of opportunity to get the word out about the hearing. We moved the hearing to the township building because for a larger crowd that we might anticipate, it just gives us more room than being in here.
What time was that again, Bob?
7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 28th of July. If you cannot make the public hearing, the village will entertain your comments or questions in writing. Please provide them before the hearing, so we can address them. They'll be read by the secretary at the meeting, and we'll make the petitioner comment or answer the questions that are asked. So if you can't make the hearing, please plan on submitting your content in writing. On the 648 Penfield, some new developments occurred late Thursday afternoon. I talked to the attorney representing the mortgage holder on the property. And the problem we have with the property is it's a Fannie Mae. If you understand Fannie Mae with COVID, everything has been suspended till July 31st. So they can't evict anyone, they can't agree to demolish the structure, nothing can happen until after July 31st. They have a hearing on August 5th on whether or not they can demolish the house. So I have to be patient and granted them till August 5th to demolish the house. If I didn't grant them till August 5th, we would be on the hook for the cost. So we're just gonna have to be patient for 30 more days. There's also a bee's nest in the second floor. We had a pest management company go in there to investigate, and we found out they're honeybees. They're an endangered species. We can't exterminate the bees. They have to be relocated by a professional beekeeper. I was told that beekeeper's coming out on July 13th to eradicate the bees. And we can't do anything to the house till the bees are gone. So it's just a nightmare. We're working on it.
There was people out there today, I'm not sure what they were doing, but there was two,
That's
was
good.
that what they
Yes,
were
there's
doing?
a maintenance company that's trying to keep the property looking presentable.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they're out mowing and trimming.
That's it for that.
Okay. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Kraus.
Thank you. The full-time officer update, chief?
Status, so we sent him for his blood test and his physical, he passed. His his psychological test is scheduled for Friday. And his polygraph, he has to set up himself over the next week and a half. So he's been in contact with the person doing the polygraph.
Code enforcement update. The last guy resigned after 2 weeks, you make it 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Last week we met with, yeah, it's fine. Someone we interviewed last time who works for Piazzone presently. But the issue was, I think we discussed this before, was finance of this individual. We're going to try to work something out with Piazzone. I don't know if we'll be able to financially do it. My thought would be, I just thought about this today, so I still talked to the mayor and the chief, is we have the part-time hours. It's just assign a part-time officer to do it. One has expressed interest. That's still, if we're gonna do that, keep it separate, again, regardless code, like a polo, not the uniform, not the police uniform. I think that's probably gonna be the best and quickest way right now to get somebody on it and get it going, because it's end of June, by the time, I don't know if we figure this, I mean, if we figure something out, Piazzone works out, then we can just, we'll figure that out later.
I just have one question on that part-time officer. I assume this officer is one of your 15, 60-hour people?
He's not,
He's not?
no.
Okay. I wanted to make sure we didn't put you in a jam scheduling shifts. If we took one of your part-timers and made him code on days, does that affect how you manage your schedule? That would be my question.
It can, this person is flexible, he does work nights as well.
But we could make him a 15, 60-hour individual.
Yeah, and just like
Push him up
Aaron,
to that level.
how we did Aaron, he could still, and well, if not if we change him into the plain car with a polo, he won't be able to cross.
Yeah, and we can discuss this as a committee later. I just want to make sure that, I like the part-time officer idea, just want to make sure it doesn't jam you up on your schedule.
I got a question, Todd, it would be probably more for the attorney. If they were contractual, if they set up like their own LLC, would that hours count towards his part-time hours allowed before IMRF contributions would need to take place?
I don't know the answer off the top of my head on that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
like if they had a company a separate company, LLC, even if it was theirs or their wife's or whoever's, and they worked for them, does that count as hours? Where if it's a contractual, it's not a specified number of hours of, an 8 to 4, it could be done around a police shift schedule and.
Typically, it doesn't count, but a couple of years ago, I thought they made some exceptions to that. That's why I don't want to say for sure.
Okay.
With IMRF, if they're already working here in a part-time capacity, and then if you're hiring them separately like that, I don't know. if
My
they allow
initial
that
thought
or
is it's
not.
all or nothing. Either they're fully
Yeah.
contractual or fully employed. It can't be both.
Because IMRF audits our records regularly to
Mhm.
see what hours get worked, and there's a lot of very clear definitions that try to keep those kind of situations from happening, because other towns have tried it, so I'd have to look at the specific wording within the IMRF code, so.
If we do this also, if we do use the part-timers, are we okay with us paying them at the part-time salary? Because there was a difference in that between the code and what a part-time officer makes, would still give us, I think I figured it out, about 663 hours.
And we have a precedent on that, because if I remember, the court in code part-time, and we paid them part-time officer wage at that time.
But it just, since it's different than what we discussed at the budget, with half the people here, I just wanna make sure everybody's okay if we end up going that route. I don't think it's gonna set a precedent if we find some new code and go back, our advertisement still was 18, and that's what we'll keep it at. But that's all I have here.
Okay. Public Works Committee, trustee Giannotti.
We've got a quiet zone update.
Yep, a lot of people are asking, quiet zone's up, why are the trains still blowing their horns? Well, we're waiting for final inspection from the FRA, and we were told that'll be done by July 13th. So, on July 13th, I should get a letter emailed to me, which I will forward to all of you directly, stating that the quiet zone is now in effect. And that's what we're waiting for. So, hang in there, because I know last weekend it was pretty noisy out there.
And then we got the Gould Street water main replacement update. Matt or Bob?
Matt, do you have anything to add? They're still working on a county permit to run it under the road. We had a QBS on the engineering firms for phase 3, which is construction management. We only received one proposal for that from Baxter and Woodman after posting due notice. That doesn't surprise me because of the scope of that project. Everyone knows that Baxter's also doing the grant administration, so it didn't surprise me. We had 3 for Penfield, but we only had 1 for Gould. So the committee's gonna meet and review it, and they're probably gonna recommend that Baxter Woodman be the construction manager on the Gould Street water main. Other than that, that's the update.
And Dixie Highway water main replacement.
Yes, we're working on an easement from one of our fine residents here, that we're gonna need to put the main down Dixie Highway, and, we're also working with the Fairway Drive commercial lot. Once we get those grants of easements in play and the petition, and the residents sign them, then we'll bring them to the board to vote on. That project is almost complete with design. They're applying for permits with EPA. We hope to bid that project out soon after Gould Street, so we can get the best pricing that we can. That's the plan.
And we got the Route 1 resurface update.
My goal, or my guess of July 4th, they'd be in town grinding is probably gonna be correct. They're about a week away, so I'm so glad the 4th of July, for non-pandemic reasons, isn't this coming weekend, because not only would we have traffic nightmare, but I'm not sure we could have gotten carnival equipment into the park with this monsoon that we're having. So it's probably a double blessing that it's not this weekend minus the pandemic. So hopefully Labor Day will have much better weather and things will work out. Route 1 project is targeted to be completed by August 1st. We shall see. They did put a catch basin in front of Larry Sanders' business over there because we had a serious flooding problem. And we'll see if that thing that they did at our request will work.
Then we got the 2021 curb and sidewalk replacement program update. Matt?
I've begun compiling a list from resident complaints, is what I usually start with, and then I go out and make my own list after that. I'm hoping to go out for proposals toward the end of July with an August or September construction. So I'll be coming to you guys within the next couple board meetings for approval on a proposal for that.
And that concludes my reports.
Economic Development and Community Relations Committee, trustee session.
Did we have a?
Yeah, there's a number 6 there.
Oh, yeah, we got that covered.
Okay.
You got it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then, results of meeting with finance chair to discuss plans for use of TIF funds as they pertain to the Ileana Crossroads Business Park of Beecher. The chairs of both committees met to discuss options for using the TIF district as an incentive for the development of the business park and the construction of new industrial buildings. Although not much can be said right now, pending the results of the PUD approval process, progress was made at identifying the needs and the resources available. A redevelopment agreement will be considered after the PUD process is completed. Fall newsletter. Is the board comfortable going back and selling ads for the fall newsletter? The process will not begin for a month or two yet, but some direction is needed. Any thoughts?
Try, see what happens. If it's a complete dud, then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable. At this point.
Go back to our original
Yeah.
marketing strategy, okay.
We'll give it a shot. Next up, Beecher wastewater treatment plant open house update. Plans are well underway for Saturday, August 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, and an invitation is being drafted, so look forward to it.
Can't wait.
Yeah. And lastly, Pentatonic and Buddies update. So Buddies, of course, is already back up and running. So as far as Pentatonic, I'm not sure exactly, but
And we're still working through the licenses for Pentatonic
yeah.
with the
Well,
state.
they were just issued their local liquor license. She's going to the state of Illinois to get that license. And then after they get the state liquor license, they have to work with the gaming board for the application for the video gaming. She said last Friday, I think it was, or Thursday, that she was hoping to open mid-July.
No, that's exciting. Bowling will be back on the agenda soon, hopefully.
And I have one other business information. We did receive a building permit to remodel a portion of Prairie Point Center where the old Beecher flower shop used to be for Tony's Pizza. So apparently they're planning on relocating from Circle K to Prairie Point Plaza.
Okay. Any old business to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board? Can we have a motion for closed session for the whole list of things?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation, new hires and contracts, and appointments.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, roll call.
Kraus?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Benatti?
Yes.
Possession?
Yes.
Burrows?
Yes.
Want to take a break for a couple minutes first?